Hey, welcome back everybody. This is going to be the second episode following my last video related to my old police lieutenant at Willis Police Department, Derek Hendry. So I'm going to be diving a little deeper, going into more information regarding him, my experiences with him, and additional stuff that I know regarding his behavior, character, morals, and those types of things. Prior to me getting into any of that stuff, I just wanted to say, as always, thank you guys very, very much for all the support that you've given me, all the positive messages, the good feedback, the text, the calls, all that stuff. I really appreciate it. I am reading all of your comments, your messages you're sending me on Instagram, everything like that. I'm sorry if it takes me a little bit of time to get back to you guys. I've just been getting so many messages, so I do apologize. I am reading them. I'll get to you when I have a chance, and please keep sending me that stuff. I don't mind whatsoever. And to those of you that have been sending me messages going off of my last video, telling me stuff that you've experienced with Derek Hendry, because I've been getting a lot of messages from females in the county regarding him, negative experiences that a lot of females have had with him. Vast majority of it is sexually related, whether it's with them personally or their friends or family or people that they know. So some advice for you guys: you can continue to send me those messages. I don't mind reading them whatsoever. I'll give you advice to the best of my ability. Obviously, I'm no longer a cop. I'm not a mandated reporter, so I can only do so much for you. I don't mind reading them at all, and like I said, responding. However, if you feel that Derek Hendry has wronged you in some way, whether it's criminally, civilly, or anything like that, some harassment thing, I suggest that you present that information to his employer or seek legal representation. There are a lot of resources out there for you guys, whether you think there are or not. There are, and there are people that are willing to listen and that are very understanding and are going to be able to help you. So, like I stated, please, if you feel the need to continue to send me messages, please do so, and I'll help you out the best that I can. So, aside from all the 99% of it's been very, very positive feedback. So again, I really appreciate all you guys that are watching. Obviously, I've been getting some haters out there, which I expected. You have to accept the bad with the good. I knew it was going to come. Nothing that came out of nowhere for me. So it kind of is what it is. It's not going to stop me. The reason why I'm addressing it is because I've had a couple people message me that have seen these types of comments, and they're saying, hey, Trent, I hope you don't stop making these videos just based on these messages. It's not stopping me. Nothing is going to stop me. I'm not worried about any of that stuff. The majority of that stuff, which is very, very minimal as it is, like I stated, 99% is very positive. The majority of that stuff's from like family members or relatives of cops on here that I'm discrediting, or it's coming from people that I've arrested or people that are related to somebody that I arrested or friends of somebody, stuff like that. So they're trying to say things about me and kind of drag my name through the mud. Not worried about it. Most of that stuff is very, very comical. Nothing is even close to the truth. I'm not worried about any of that stuff. So, it's not going to stop me. And to those of you that are doing that, the people that are saying negative things about me, that's fine. I understand not everybody's going to agree with what I'm saying or what I'm doing. I totally get it. I have nothing bad to say about you guys that are doing that. It's free country, and you have your First Amendment rights. So go ahead. But I do have to thank you guys in a way, because you are still subscribed to my channel. You're still watching my stuff, sharing it, and it's only benefiting what I'm trying to do. It's benefiting my agenda. It's assisting the community, and it's assisting all the guys that I used to work with at these various agencies, at the Willis Police Department, Mendocino County Sheriff's Office, because you're still helping me get the word out there. So even though you guys are saying negative stuff, I still got to say thank you. Hopefully you guys keep watching my videos too, and keep sharing them and stuff. It actually is helping a lot. So thank you guys too for doing that. So let's dive right into it regarding Derek Hendry. So when I was coming up with the sheriff's office, you would hear a ton of rumors about all these guys, right? Especially Derek Hendry, mostly coming from a lot of the older dudes that have been around for, 15, 20, 25 years. that would talk to me. I don't know why they would always talk to me, but they would. That's how I know a lot of this information. But like I said, I've also experienced it personally for myself. But a lot of the rumors, especially surrounding him, were at one point in time he worked for the task force for Mendocino County. Derek Hendry did, and he worked with a couple other guys that are pretty well known for being shady too. I'm not going to bring up their names at all, but those guys that were around for that or worked for the sheriff's office knew who I'm talking about. But the rumors are, and I'm not saying any of this is true. I have no proof of any of this. There's no emails, no texts, no documents. I'm just stating what is very, very common knowledge within the law enforcement community in Mendocino County, more specifically with the Mendocino County Sheriff's Office. Lots of guys know this stuff, and I'm not saying this part is true, okay? I'm just kind of setting the tone for what I'm about to lead into, okay? So, but you would hear them say like, oh, Derek Hendry and those guys that were on the task force during that time would steal money. They'd steal dope. They'd sell the dope. They'd keep the money. They would put cases against certain girls or females and hold those cases above their heads in exchange for sexual favors. Just doing stuff like that. So nothing that I had any proof of by any means. Like I stated, it was just something that was circulating at the time. A lot of guys, even at the sheriff's office that are watching this video, are going to say, "Oh yeah, we all heard that," kind of a thing. So nothing, no concrete evidence. And back then, even if that was true, those guys knew what they were doing. So, however, one thing that I did continue to hear is that Derek Hendry would frequently hook up with some of his informants that he would use, like his snitches, his CIs, that he would use for his various cases. And one name came up very, very frequently for throughout the years. I'm not going to mention her name because some guys know who I'm talking about. I had mentioned it before, but I'm not going to say it because I don't want to put her safety or her life in jeopardy or anything like that, just for outing her on YouTube as a snitch or informant for law enforcement, because, based on my experience, that could actually get her killed within the criminal world. So I'm not going to do that. I don't want anything to happen to this person. So, but anyway, this person, this girl, she is very, very well known in Mendocino County. She's been arrested a ton of times by the sheriff's office, by Willits PD, by Ukiah PD, and she's been on parole before. She's been to prison. She's been to Chowchilla. So, like I stated, I kept hearing that over and over again. And then I developed further information that, okay, actually this very much could be true. Actually, she would, I've never talked to her before, by the way, I should state that. I know who she is, but like I stated, the majority of my career was in Covelo, some of it in the Willits area, but she was mainly based out of Ukiah. And I had other deputies that would work that area that would tell me like, dude, we contacted this person and she told us specifically that she'd been hooking up with Derek Hendry. So that's just coming from her. At the time, I was like, oh, okay, it's just kind of another one of those things that you hear and you kind of go about your day type of thing. It's like, oh, well, okay. But yeah, a couple of these guys would tell me that. And anyway, so I developed further information that this is true. And one day, I was still with the Mendocino County Sheriff's Office. Derek was working as a lieutenant with Willits Police Department. We went into Cafe 77. I was working in the Willits area at the time, and we would go in there in the morning for breakfast. And we sat down and he said, hey, this female, recently, he's like, yeah, she just hit me up recently, kind of out of nowhere. And I was like, oh, okay, well, I said, I thought she was in prison. He's like, oh, well, she was, but she had just gotten out, I guess. So he said that she had randomly hit him up, and he told me, okay, these are going to be his words, not mine. So I apologize for the language, but he said, yeah, she hit me up, and I told her that, to prove that it was her, and she sent me a picture of her tits. It was fucking great. And I was just like, okay, because I knew who this girl was, and I was just like, all right, man, whatever. And said a couple other things, and then he stated that he had met up with her, and he met up with her, I don't know what they did specifically, but he said he had met up with her at some point in person, just to like bullshit, I guess, and she had informed him that while she was in prison in Chowchilla, I believe it was for approximately a year, and this was during the pandemic, right, when everyone was getting substantial amount of money through unemployment. So, but he told me that she relayed to him that during her time in Chowchilla, she was committing unemployment fraud, and tons of people were doing it during this time. The task force with Mendocino County, as well as Mendocino County detectives, were tasked with investigating some of those cases. So it was very, very prevalent. A lot of people were doing it. But anyway, she told him that while she was in prison, she was committing this fraud. And he said, his words, so he said, yeah, she told me she made like 75 fucking grand or some shit. And he was just laughing. He was just laughing it off. He's like, it's fucking great. And like completely, the comments that he made were, he was completely condoning her felonious behavior. Wasn't concerned about it at all, didn't say he was going to report it. At this point in time, he said he wasn't even using her as an informant anymore for information. So that's when I kind of, well, prior to that, I had knowledge that he was doing this anyway, but that's what kind of, sealed the deal for me in terms of knowing that. So, but anyways, the other stuff that I talked about, like the stealing the dope and the money, I don't have any proof of that, guys. I'm not saying he did do that. I'm not, alleging he did that. I'm just stating that this is very common knowledge. A ton of guys at the sheriff's office know that. And it was, like I said, just leading into this other stuff that I'm getting into. So aside from that, prior to being in law enforcement or at the Mendocino County Sheriff's Office or at Willits Police Department, Derek Hendry worked as a tribal police officer for Shokawa, the tribe down in Hopland in Mendocino County. And this was in the late 90s, maybe early 2000s, something like that. At the time, Al Tripp was the tribal police chief. And he wanted to legitimize the tribal police force there. He wanted to make them post-certified. He wanted them to have federal peace officer powers because in California is a public law 280 state. It's a lot different than like Montana or the Dakotas and stuff like that, where they have their own tribal police force, and on the reservation, they take care of their own crimes, right? They do all their own investigations. They have their own jail. They have their own courts. And the only people that ever go onto the reservations in those states to investigate crimes is the FBI. And generally speaking, that's for like homicides and stuff like that. But for California, the sheriff's office has ultimate jurisdiction over reservation land. So Al Tripp was trying to make it so that they were federalized and they could have peace officer powers there, because they didn't. So in order to do that and become post-certified, you have to go through the same process that I had to do and all my friends had to go through, which is the standard background check, the psych, the medical, all that stuff. So Al Tripp brought in an investigator to conduct the background checks on these tribal police officers, which included Derek Hendry. And the background investigator discovered that Derek Hendry should not legally be allowed to possess a firearm, and especially carry one at work, due to a domestic violence incident between his ex-wife. I'm not going to bring up her name, but everyone that knows him or that was around know who I'm talking about. So the background investigator presented that information to Al Tripp, the tribal chief, and said, hey, this guy he's not passing his background, man. Like he shouldn't be allowed to carry a gun. And then Al Tripp presented that information to the tribal council, and he was fired. And somehow weaseled his way into the law enforcement world after that at the Mendocino County Sheriff's Office. As I stated in my first video, he was fired there for time fraud and then subsequently went to Willits PD. I don't know how he was hired at the Sheriff's Office. That was before my time. Even the stuff at Shokawa, I was in middle school during that time, so I'm not entirely sure. There's some details after that fact that I'm not completely aware of, but that stuff is factual. If they kept their records down there, that's all documented stuff. So if they maintained any sort of record of fact like that, that stuff's still going to be there. So aside from that, I'm actually going to kind of take a break on Derek. I know that I stated I was going to do 3 to 4 videos on him. There is a lot more stuff I can get into regarding him. I'll do that later on, and I apologize for that. But I'm going to kind of segue into a little change of pace, and I'm going to start next week with a video, going forward a little bit with the Mendocino County Sheriff's Office command staff. There's a couple reasons I'm going to do that. I'm not going to get into great detail regarding that. I've had a ton of messages and texts and stuff from the guys that still work patrol there at the Mendocino County Sheriff's Office, sergeants on patrol, the patrol guys, and a ton of people in the jail. I still have a lot of connections there, a lot of friends, and and I should emphasize this again. All these guys on patrol, sergeants and below, that I've had experience with over the years in Mendocino County, Willits Police Department, as well as the Mendocino County Sheriff's Office, really, really, really good dudes. I can't stress that enough. Very honest, very legitimate, very trustworthy. These are the guys that you see out on the street every day pushing the patrol car. They're going to the calls. They're helping you with whatever. They're trying to put the bad guys that deserve to be arrested. They're trying to, you know, assist the community. They're trying to help the community. They do care. They are people. They have wives, they have kids, they have families. They're just trying to pay the bills. It's a job, but they do love doing it. I'm not talking about those guys. The guys that I'm talking about and addressing in these videos are the guys that are sitting in the offices down in Ukiah. They're the behind the curtain. They're the ones running the show. They're the ones in power and in charge. Okay, so those are the ones that I'm talking about. But the patrol guys and the sergeants, some of the sergeants, as well as a lot of people in the jail, have been reaching out to me recently a lot. And they're saying, hey, we're all watching your stuff. We're subscribed. Everyone has your back. We're very, very supportive in what you're doing. And they consistently tell me that, like, hey, we can't say any of that stuff. You already know, Trent. You've been there, done that. We don't want to put our jobs or our livelihoods in jeopardy, but please, like, keep going, because everything you're saying is still true. And these are their words, a lot of them, that says the command staff still treating us like shit. They're not listening to our concerns. They're making us do a bunch of stuff that doesn't make any sense, or stuff that we don't agree with. And stuff that's kind of inhibiting their ability to better serve you guys, like in the community, and do their jobs, and putting them in awkward, stressful situations. That's not, you know, it's just not helpful. And so they've been asking me a lot to you know, keep addressing these problems. So, and from what it sounds like to me, based on all these messages I've gotten from these guys, the leadership there is still just awful. And it hasn't gotten any better since I left. Obviously, the command staff didn't listen to anything I had to say prior to me leaving. And it sounds like it's actually gotten a little bit worse. There's guys that are still leaving the sheriff's office. They're trying to go to the other agencies. No one's applying there. Maybe like one person. They are hurting horribly for staffing. And which is funny, right? Because they didn't hire me back, even though they had no reason not to. I had already addressed that, though. I'm not going to get into any more detail on that. But they're still hurting for guys. But there's a lot of dudes leaving. They're apping out and to other agencies or other jobs. I know of at least 5 guys at the sheriff's office on patrol that all put in for the welfare fraud investigator job that just flew for the county when there's one position open. So there's a lot of guys that have told me they're making a plan B and C exit strategy, because the command staff there is so bad and it's so toxic. You know, those lieutenants and stuff down there are still in their command staff meetings, patting themselves on the back, thinking they're doing a really good job. And, you know, their egos are just inflated through the roof. And I'm telling you guys, and I know you guys are watching too, the command staff, because I've been made aware of that. I still talk to a lot of people at the sheriff's office. You're not doing a good job. You guys aren't, and you should have, you know, listened to me at the time. Maybe we could avoided some of these issues. Patrol could have been happier. You guys could have made the community a better place, and instead of putting so much stress and making these guys' lives like so difficult, I mean, it's just ridiculous. So going forward, I'm going to start talking about some of those guys, the things that they've done. I mean, a few of them have been fired from other agencies, the lieutenants there, for stuff that I personally don't know how they're still cops. I really don't. It just boggles my mind. Like straight criminal stuff, documented lying. And like I said, I don't know how you can be a cop and be a documented liar at the same time. It doesn't make any sense to me. It seems like a little bit of conflict of interest, perhaps. But it goes back to the good old boys club. And, you know, I'll hire you if I know you, or you got your family member over here that works here and he's going to hook you up with this. And we'll just kind of put this, you know, it happened a long time ago, so maybe it's not a big deal anymore. And as I stated in my first video, I got told, you know, by the captain when I was still at the sheriff's office addressing these concerns that I had with him. He said, well, you know, everyone deserves a second chance and you shouldn't hold everyone's past against them. And I do agree with that to a certain extent. I'm not talking bad about the captain at all. But like I stated, some things, regardless of if it's been 30, 40, 50, 100 years, there is no excusing it. There is no excusing this behavior. A lot of it's very disgusting and criminal in nature. Also, some of the stuff that the command staff has done as cops that they should have been fired for, but they weren't, due to the good old boys club, and that I keep preaching about, because that is very, very real, unfortunately. And it was a lot more prevalent back in the day, you know, in the 90s and the early 2000s, but it still very much exists. So I'm going to get into that stuff and try to help these guys out that have been asking me to help them out. The patrol guys, my friends. I'm not dropping any names. Sergeants and below, all you guys that have been talking to me, I will never dime you out. I will never bring up your name. I know exactly how it is because I spoke up and I tried to help you guys also when I was still employed there at the time. And look where it got me. It got me absolutely nowhere. And I don't want that to happen to any of you guys. You're all really good dudes. I appreciate you guys. I love you guys. And to everyone else out there, I had some kick-ass partners at the sheriff's office. Some great guys that I love to death, that I trust with my life, with my family's life, and that just want to make the community a better place. And it's really such a disservice to them to not try to do this for these guys. I mean, I got nothing to lose. You know what I'm saying? I'm doing my own thing, and I'm not worried about it. But these guys, they can't say this stuff because then they're going to end up in my position, which actually is okay with me. I feel so much better, like a weight's lifted off my shoulder now that I don't work for these toxic, fake criminal organizations, essentially, with the sheriff's office as well as the Wills Police Department. I mean, that's basically what it is, because they're condoning these behaviors by knowing about it and allowing it to not necessarily continue, but just kind of like, well, we'll just, pretend like maybe that didn't happen 10 years ago, kind of a thing, or 5, whatever it is, and just move on. So, yeah, so I'm going to start on that next week. And sorry, this video is running a little long. Hopefully you guys are still watching. I'm trying to condense these as much as possible, but it's a lot of information sometimes. So going forward, in between the videos that I do regarding the Shady stuff, I'm thinking about doing, smaller videos regarding just regular cop stuff, like just my experiences. Have I seen cops, racially profile people, be prejudiced, biased, like when contacting people, pulling them over? Also, do cops have quotas in terms of ticket citations, stuff like that? If you guys want to know stuff like that, I'll be 100% honest with you. I don't want to be a cop ever again, ever again. I've been there, done that, and I have plans already in the works for other stuff that I'm going to get going. So it's behind me. I had a great time while I did it. Like I stated, I'm glad that I was able to help some people, especially out in Covelo. Like, I love that place to death still, and all the people there. And nothing's ever going to top it for me. That was it. That was the. I know it's never gonna get any better or any more challenging or more just more satisfaction, work satisfaction for me than doing what I'd already done. So. But yeah, if you guys want to know anything about any of that stuff, just let me know. Comment below. Hit me up on any social media platform you feel comfortable doing, Instagram, whatever this, and let me know if that interests you guys, and I'd be more than happy to do it. So I'm going to cut it off here. Sorry it took a little long. Again, thank you very, very much for all the support that you guys are giving me. I'm doing this for you guys, and like I said, we're going to keep it moving. I'm not going to stop. I've also been contacted by a few influential people that I'd already mentioned on my Instagram in the county as well as the state of California. So I'm actually going to have some interesting stuff coming up. I'm not going to talk about it right now, but you guys will see. Stuff is going to change. Stuff is already in the works, and we're just going to try to make the community a better place. So thank you guys again for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.